looking back, it is the best decision that I've ever made. Also, the hardest decision I've ever made in my entire life. And I do have an incredible announcement to make. I am moving. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Unlocking Lily. So I believe that this world would be a better place if we all just embrace who we truly are. Evan is currently an investor in my business and is mentoring me to help me grow my coaching and speaking practice. And it's an absolute honor to invite all of you guys to join me on my startup journey. Guys, I cannot believe that it's been a year since I started my journey in being an entrepreneur. I have so many mixed feelings about this because on one side I feel like, wow, this time has gone by really quickly. And on the other side, I feel like I've been doing this for over a decade because so many things has happened. I had my first TEDx talk, I started my coaching practice, I hired my first employee, and I launched the School of Life. And it's been quite the wild ride, let me just tell you. So in this video, I am going to share with you all the twists and the turns and the changes that I've had over the last year. And the one important lesson that I have learned throughout this entire experience, that is to bet on myself. So over a year ago, Evan offered me something incredible. That is to be an investor and a mentor in my business. And my first initial reaction was, wow, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. I cannot pass this up. And on the other side, my logical side came in, right? The logical side that said, well, you have a very safe job right now. You have financial security. You have bills to pay. You got a mortgage to pay. You have a husband to take care of. Why are you going to do something this crazy? And I don't know what it was at the time. Maybe it was just a right time for me and I was ready. I listened to my heart. You know that voice that tells you to just do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. You know what? Life is going to be amazing. Don't you even worry about it. And for the first time in a very, very long time, I decided to listen to that voice. I decided to finally take a bet on myself and say yes. And that's how this entire journey began for me. So in the beginning, I set out to be a speaker. It was my dream to stand on stage and speak in front of thousands of people in helping them transform their lives. And at the same time, I had zero experience doing it. So I really needed to develop a plan for myself. And that's the thing, when you're an entrepreneur starting out, you're gonna have these grand ideas and ambitions and goals, but you may not know the first step towards it. So when you don't know where to begin, the best place to start is to model the masters. And that's exactly what I did. So I made a list of 20 speakers who I looked up to, people like Tony Robbins, Brené Brown, and Simon Sinek. And I researched these three things. The first thing I looked at was their start. What are the things that they did in the beginning of their journey? And the reason for that is you don't want to look at what they're doing right now when you're starting off in your journey, because it's going to be way too much of a leap for you. And in a lot of ways, it could be discouraging. And you want to make sure that you're as exciting and encouraged as possible in the beginning. So knowing what they did in the beginning is going to help you pave your path. The second thing I looked at was their breakthroughs. So what are the things that they did to break them through to who they are today? And the reason for that is there are multiple paths you can take, there are multiple things you can do, but if you could zero in on those breakthrough moments, you could mimic those and hopefully get your breakthrough yourself. And the last thing I looked at was monetization, because as beautiful and amazing it is to do things that you love and are passionate about, you also want to make money from it. Because if you don't make money from your business, it's not a business, it's a hobby. And I set out to create a business. So knowing all those three things, I saw the common patterns and I started off with my plan. So the first thing I needed to do was to get lots of practice, because that's what Tony Robbins said, you have to practice over and over again to get good. So I set 1,000 different places and I started speaking in all of them and just kept on getting practice. And in the beginning, you're going to be doing things for free. And that's a humility that you need in the beginning, because when you don't know what it is that you're doing, You have to take on opportunities that you may think that are beneath you, but that's a humility you need in the start. And the second thing I looked at was a breakthrough. So both Simon Sinek and Brené Brown had TEDx talks. And TEDx talk is something I've always wanted to do as part of my bucket list. But knowing that that's what they did, I needed to do it. So I applied to 50 different places and I got my first TEDx talk within the first month of me starting my journey. And the last thing was a monetization. The common things that the speakers were monetizing were books, online courses, and coaching. And I knew that writing a book is not part of what I want to do at all. So that quickly dropped off my list and I focused on coaching and the online courses. And that's the thing. When you're looking at the people that you're inspired by, there might be certain things that they're doing right now that doesn't resonate with you. Who's to say that you have to follow all of those things? You could just pick a couple of them that works for you. So having those plans in place, I started off my journey and I was so incredibly excited. So I did a lot of talks in the beginning of my journey, and as a parallel path, I did my coaching. Suggestion from Evan, and as well as I saw that a lot of the speakers were doing that as well. And I had so much reservations around coaching because it wasn't something that I saw myself doing in that moment. It just didn't cross my mind. I wanted to make a huge impact in the world, and one-on-one wasn't something that really made sense for me, but I decided to give it a try anyway. So in the beginning, I started with 100 free coaching sessions because I just didn't think it was fair. I don't think it was fair for me to charge people when I wasn't even sure if this is something I was going to do in the long term. But I did it anyway, and honestly, that was the one thing that I was completely wrong about. Pretty quickly in my coaching practice, I realized that it brought me the most fulfillment and joy. Share those special moments, the vulnerabilities of them sharing their life stories, their struggles, their challenges in the beginning, and to see them change, see them transform, see them believe in themselves even more and more every time I saw them. I didn't even know if there was another feeling that great. And pretty quickly, I decided to pivot my business into focusing on coaching even more. And again, I had doubts because I went online and I said, hey, I want to be a speaker. It's my dream to be a speaker. And for me to pivot my business completely and announce that made me feel like I was being flighty, or it made me feel like I kept on changing my mind. But once again, I had to bet on myself. I needed this thing to work because I knew this was right for me. So I decided to completely change my business around and to focus way more of my hours to coaching and slowly move away from the speaking. And that's the thing, your business is going to pivot. Usually the thing that you start with is not the thing you're going to end up doing, and that's okay. You need to give yourself the permission to know that you're constantly changing and growing, and sometimes that means that you're going to walk away from certain things to focus on other opportunities, and that's okay, and you need to bet on yourself that way. So while all of these amazing things were happening in my business, I also had a lot of dark moments. I questioned myself every single day. I had tons of self-doubt. I questioned my worthiness and the value I was bringing into my business. And at one point, I even thought that I would quit and go back into the corporate lifestyle that I was so used to. And at the same time, I was struggling with something huge. That is, I was wondering if I should end my marriage, because it was just not working. We just simply were growing apart. And I was struggling with that decision for many reasons. One of those reasons is the fact that I believed I have integrity. And for me to walk away from something that was supposed to last a lifetime was out of the question for me. I wrote my own vows. And that vows was to last all of eternity, not just 2.5 years. And I also questioned myself and how can I possibly help other people succeed in their lives and help them provide happiness and fulfillment in their life when I can't even make a marriage work? So I went back and forth for many, many months. But I also realized something, that what I really do is I help people define success on their own terms. And sometimes success means that you have to let go of something that you feel obligated towards. That could be a relationship. That could be a friendship. That could be a business idea. Staying in something too long serves nobody at all. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve the people involved. It doesn't serve the world. And I knew that I had to do this for myself. I knew that I have to walk away from this. And I did. I made the decision, and looking back, it is the best decision that I've ever made. Also, the hardest decision I've ever made in my entire life. It made me feel like I was literally about to die when I made that decision. And while I was going all of that and going through my separation, I had people counting on me. And that's exactly what I did. The first thing I did was I shared with Evan what I was going through. I wanted him to know that this was the stage in my life and I needed his help because this was something that was really hard for me and I couldn't do it alone. And he was so incredibly supportive, and he helped me through the entire process. Second person that I reached out to was my assistant, because I wanted him to know that I may not be around for long periods of time because I was going through a really difficult time in my life. And of course, he was incredibly supportive, and he said that I was like family to him. So anything I needed, he would provide for me. And I also reached out to my clients. I made videos for them and I told them, listen, I'm not getting any sleep at all because of my separation. And it could mean that I might not answer your emails right away. I may drop the ball on certain things, and I want you to know that I still care immensely about you and your business, but I'm going through this right now and I need you to know. And again, incredibly supportive. Not only were they understanding, they went out of their way to make me feel better by sending me funny videos and doing all sorts of things for me. And it made me feel so incredible. And really, out of this, I realized that not only was I able to get through my separation period, it made me realize that this is something I was meant to do. This was my calling. Even in my darkest moments, I woke up every single day and I continued on to work on my business. That further solidified my passion and my excitement towards what I was doing. And that's a thing. As an entrepreneur, you are going to go through extremely difficult times. You may go through a divorce. You may go through an illness. You may go through a death in the family. And the most important thing is for you to be 100% honest with everybody involved. Because it's not only about you anymore, it's about your employees, it's about the people that you're serving. And again, you just have to trust in yourself and bet on yourself that you are doing the right thing, and everything is going to just fall into place. So the next chapter of my journey is that I'm only going to bet on myself even more. If there's anything that I have learned throughout this entire experience, is a fact that I need to believe that I'm doing the right thing. I need to believe that I can follow my heart and jump into the unknown. It all started when I said yes to Evan a year ago and I started this journey. I jumped into the unknown when I did my coaching. I didn't know this is something I wanted to do and brought me so much happiness. And I also jumped into the unknown when I ended my marriage. Something that was incredibly secure for me and something I was familiar with. Now I ended that, and who knows who I'm gonna meet and fall in love with All I know is I need to continue to follow my heart and jump into the unknown and bet on myself. And I do have an incredible announcement to make. I am moving to Mexico. That's right, I made a hard decision to jump into the unknown, and I'm gonna make this business work in Mexico. So Evan and I are gonna continue to work together. We're gonna do remote mentoring, and we're gonna continue to grow this business even bigger than it is right now. And I have a special shout out for Alexandra. Thank you so much for being there for me since day one, and your support, it means the world to me. Thank you so much, Alex. And finally, the question of the day is, what is that one thing you are going to do to bet on yourself? Write in the comments below and I'll join in on the discussion. Thank you guys so much for watching, and more importantly, being on this journey with me. It's been quite the year. I have grown, I have changed, and I'm going to continue to grow and change. And it gives me the comfort in knowing that you guys are there for me every step of the way. So thank you so much again, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.
So let me give you the one word secret to happiness. One word. This is all you need to be happy.
The most important word ever.
If you had to think of one word that's most important to you, or that sums you up, or that would be kind of like a little beacon.
Hey Believe Nation, if you want to know what the most important one word is for Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Oprah Winfrey, will.i.am, and Howard Schultz, I have a very special secret video for you. Check the description for details.